Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're sick and tired of getting the exact same results year after year, you're absolutely in the right place. Today, we're unpacking a radical and, honestly, pretty uncomfortable blueprint. The goal? To completely overhaul your life in just 3 months.
Picture this. Imagine waking up exactly 90 days from right now and being completely unrecognizable to everyone who knows you. Sounds crazy, right? But we're starting with this really stark vision today. It's all about leaving behind the constant noise and the endless crowd stimulation. We want to deliberately rebuild how you think, how you work, and how you live, literally from the ground up. This isn't just tweaking your morning routine, it's a total top-to-bottom paradigm shift.
So let's dive into the contrast here between the illusion of a calendar reset and the reality of true transformation. We see this all the time, right? Most people roll into a new year, or even just a new month, and they repeat their exact same patterns. But they fully expect a massive shift just because the date on the calendar changed. In reality, and human psychology backs this up, they're really just seeking comfort while hoping for better results, completely avoiding the hard work. But here's the truth. Real, deep-rooted change, it doesn't happen while you're highly visible and available to everyone. It happens in the quiet.
All right, here's the exact tactical roadmap we're going to follow today. We'll start with the illusion of change, move into cutting the escape routes, and then set up the daily disappearance protocol. After that, we'll talk about architecting your environment, surviving what's called the boring middle, and finally, stepping into the new identity.
So, Section 1, the illusion of change. Stop seeking comfort. We really need to start by completely shattering this myth that repeating the same old patterns in a new month will somehow magically give you different results.
Now, this concept is fascinating because it completely redefines productivity. The 90-day disappearance isn't about just doing more busy work or frantically adding items to your to-do list. Not at all. Think of it more as a tactical retreat. It's a period of highly focused, deeply uncomfortable work entirely removed from the noise of the crowd. The whole point is to completely pivot the trajectory of your life by silencing the outside world. Why? So you can finally hear your own thoughts and figure out what actually matters.
Moving right along to Section 2, cutting the escape routes to forge real discipline. You have to completely shift your mindset here because relying on the idea of simply trying harder is a total losing game.
As this quote says, discipline doesn't come from trying harder, it comes from cutting escape routes. This is absolutely crucial. It means you must forcefully remove the crutches you instinctively reach for when the work gets difficult. Relying purely on willpower is a massive recipe for failure. Your brain is literally wired to conserve energy and take the easiest path available. By cutting those escape routes in advance, you're effectively burning the boats. You leave yourself with exactly one option, and that's moving forward.
So what does cutting those routes actually look like in practice? Well, for the next 90 days, you are declaring an all-out war on the distractions that numb your brain. Anything that offers a quick fix has to go. No video games, no mindless scrolling on social media, and absolutely no cheap dopamine disguised as rest. You are actively detoxing your brain's reward system from these easy outs. And what's wild is that by starving yourself of that cheap stimulation, doing the actual hard work suddenly becomes incredibly rewarding again.
All right, on to Section 3, the daily disappearance protocol. This is your non-negotiable routine. With the escape routes fully burned, here is the aggressive daily protocol you're going to execute without fail. The absolute key here is starting every single day with this exact sequence to build some immediate, undeniable momentum. First up, you wake up before 6 a.m. This is about beating the rest of the world and taking ultimate control of your time. Second, you complete 30 minutes of hard physical training. You want to spike your heart rate and literally shock your nervous system into gear. And third, you spend 15 minutes in total silence, just absolute quiet. This grounds you, it lowers your cortisol levels, and it perfectly primes your brain for the deep, focused work that's coming next.
Now, beyond that intense morning routine, you've got to direct your energy toward one specific, highly uncomfortable task. Because look, effort without clear direction is ultimately useless. You need to attack one hard thing every single day that directly builds your future income or hones a high-income skill, whether that's coding, content creation, sales, whatever it is for you. This single daily task, it becomes your absolute anchor.
And keep in mind, this protocol is utterly ruthless when it comes to focus. You simply cannot improve everything at once. It just doesn't work. So write down your top 10 goals. Get them all out on paper. But then you must narrow them down to just the 3 most important ones, the ones that will actually move the needle in your life. For the next 3 months, everything you do has to revolve entirely around those 3 goals. If a task doesn't serve the top 3, it gets completely ignored, period.
Let's shift gears to Section 4,
architecting your environment to control your triggers. We really need to look at how this framework builds into your physical surroundings, because your environment is training you for success or failure every single second of the day.
You've got to architect your spaces using some really strict boundaries to deliberately make distractions boring. First, get the TV out of your bedroom. Next, put your smartphone on grayscale. This is a simple but brilliant trick that strips away the bright colors, which literally trigger a slot machine response in your brain. Also, keep that phone in a completely different room during your deep work to remove the temptation entirely. And finally, compartmentalize your life. Your desk is strictly for work, and your bed is strictly for sleep. Training your brain with these hard physical boundaries basically ensures you don't fail.
Which brings us to Section 5, Surviving the Boring Middle, the Crucible. We are now entering the absolute most dangerous phase of this journey, the inevitable moment when your enthusiasm completely dies. There's a very specific emotional trajectory you're going to face here, and you really need to be warned about the agonizing dip where most people throw in the towel. Day 1, it feels absolutely incredible. You're fueled by this rush of fresh excitement. But right around day 40 to 50, man, that initial high totally wears off. The results feel impossibly slow, and your motivation completely fades. This right here is the crucible. But listen, if you can outlast this brutal dip, you will finally break through to the massive reward waiting for you at day 90.
So, how on earth do you actually survive this dip? Well, by understanding that true success comes from doing the boring work even when there are zero visible results. When the payoff feels like it's light years away, you have to lean heavily into your biological prime time. This is that specific 2 to 3 hour window in the day when your energy and your mental focus naturally hit their peak. You need to identify exactly when that is for you, protect that window fiercely, and use it only for your hardest, most critical work.
And when you inevitably feel the overwhelming urge to just skip a day, remember this ultimate lifeline. Momentum is built with tiny, irreversible movements. If you simply can't bring yourself to do a full hour of work, just stand up. Just open your laptop. Write literally one single line of code or read just one page. Those tiny, little micro-actions are what keep the streak alive and stop you from sliding backward into your old habits. Finally, we reach Section 6, the new identity, proving it to yourself. Let's look at the ultimate payoff of tracking this 90-day protocol with just a simple daily checklist. You see, this entire blueprint isn't just about finishing some fun little internet challenge. Ticking the box for every completed task doesn't just check off a day on a calendar. It exposes your real underlying discipline to yourself. It proves that you are the kind of person who actually keeps their word when no one else is watching. By consistently stacking these days, you are fundamentally changing your entire identity. You're literally becoming someone entirely new. Which leaves us with the ultimate question. Challenge accepted? Are you ready to stop talking about change, to completely disappear into the quiet work, and return in 90 days with standards so high your old life simply no longer fits? If you're serious about this, grab a habit tracker and commit to the protocol today. But really ask yourself this before you begin. Are you truly willing to let your current self disappear just to meet the person you're actually capable of becoming? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and we'll see you on the other side.